Hello. It's that time again to get our minds messed with by analysing another Mili song from Limbus Company. This time we're doing Fly My Wings, another suggestion from many of you, so I'm kind of scared, I'll be totally honest, purely because having listened to many Mili songs so far, each of them leaves me more disturbed than the last. Fly My Wings sounds quite nice, actually. Almost like a bit of a sweet song. But From a Place of Love sounds like a sweet song too, so I've been down that train before, no pun intended. I also have this trusty bingo card in this advanced software called Microsoft Paint. There are just many things that I've noticed from a lot of Project Moon / Limbus Company in particular songs. So, here are some things on the Everything Fancy bingo card today. I'd suggest pause the video now and play along for yourself. Create your own bingo card, and let's see if there are things that we can spot that happen in literally every Limbus Company song. So, here's what I've got. Key change. Makes no sense without context. Uses strings. Drum machine. Tempo change. Something sinister happens. Dramatic contrast. Distortion. An instrument gets a solo. There's a similarity that can be made with Ruiner. Elaborate piano line. Choreo's confused. Chromatic notes, rather. Many effects happening, particularly at the same time. Genre change and disturbing lyrics. I kind of feel like we can cross off the disturbing lyrics now, really, but let's go into this blind. I've not heard this track before. Let's get straight into it. I'm already worried. I'm worried about what's about to happen. Okay, so we are in D flat major. I have this suspicion that we are not going to be staying in D flat major. We could already cross off one thing, actually. Distortion. There's distortion on that piano sound. I'm tempted to say so many effects, but you know, I'm not entirely there just yet.
Fly, broken wings, I know you are still with me. All I need.
Interesting panning. We have the... In fact, I need to double check that to make sure it's not me.
You are still with.
We have the piano now panned left, and the vocals front and center. Not a normal thing in Project Moon songs, but it's an interesting mix choice. I wonder if that's used to supplement the game at all, or whatever this appears in game. Vocals as elegant and magnificent as always.
With me. All I need is a nudge to get me started. Fly, broken wings, to somewhere we can be free. Closer to our ideal. Teary-eyed, once true to soul, I watched as you rotted away. The mirror said.
Is this gonna be like the first Mili song that I've heard from any of the Project Moon games that just stays consistent throughout? I'm confused right now because I was expecting some massive change to happen. There's still 2 minutes to go, and I'm gonna cross off Corey is confused, not for the normal reason, but purely on the basis that I was expecting something completely different. There's still 2 minutes. There's still time for all of this to be completely overturned. I don't think I've had anything too disturbing so far. Now, of course, I don't know the context, but on some level we can sort of make sense of it. It's nothing kind of too unbelievable so far. I'm gonna say instrument gets a solo, purely because of those piano sections where we hear very, very standard ballady type sections with fragmented chords like this. Everything is very predictable so far, but in a way that's quite worrying, because I don't know what to expect next.
That I still remember hope.
Still in the same key.
You're doing what you love. Isn't that enough? Isn't that enough? A genius, perfect job. Isn't that enough? Isn't that?
Oh, that's so annoying. For the first time, so far we don't have a key change, but we have a time signature change. And we've changed to 3/4. Da 2 3, da 2 3, da 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 da. Prior we had a da 2 da 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 4. 2 2 3 4. I'm gonna add tempo change for that. It's my cheeky way of getting out of it. But yeah, I mean, I was expecting. We don't have many. At least I haven't immediately. No chromaticism has jumped out at me either. I'm still very interested in this distortion on the piano. That's the thing that's disturbing to me more than anything else, because it shows that there's some subtext here. It's not as pleasant as it seems, but we have lyrics like "Isn't that enough? Isn't that enough?" Let's have a look at kind of what else we can see. You're doing what you love. What is the context here? I'm worried.
Enough, isn't that enough? A genius, perfect job. Isn't that enough? Isn't that enough? Again and again, you.
Oh, it's reminding me of something. Oh, there's another Mili song this is reminding me of. Hey, it's Corey from the future here. While Corey from the past is having an existential crisis trying to figure this out, I did end up figuring out what the similarity was. It's Grown Up's Paradise from Arknights. The phrase in 3/4 in Grown Up's Paradise goes like this. Da da da. The bass ascends up the A minor scale. In Fly My Wings, the phrase is very similar, but in a different key. It goes da da da. It ascends up in a very similar way. We now have as well, as we're changing section, an increase in tempo, an increase in dynamics as well. The dynamic range of this is really, really high. You can really hear when her voice is elevating in volume and cutting through. And that's not something that should be overlooked, because a lot of songs nowadays tend to compress a lot. So there isn't so much contrast between the quieter sections and the louder sections. And on that basis, I'm checking dramatic contrast. I'm also inclined to put elaborate piano line. Now, when I originally had the idea of elaborate piano line in mind, I was thinking more of like a Gone Angels sort of that kind of thing. But this is elaborate in a very kind of simplistic way. There's nothing too extravagant about it, but the piano gets a lot of space, and that's why I'm calling it elaborate in this instance.
You lock me down, I lock me down, we stake me to the ground.
Okay, well that's definitely elaborate in any case. Locked me down. Was that
The ground.
staked me to the ground? Staked me to the ground. Interesting use of words there.
This all gave me warmth. Please die, little dreams, kill the chameleons in me. Wouldn't it be easier to give in? Why are these hands chasing dreams out of my reach?
We have a few interesting things here, and I can start. I'm paying attention to the lyrics as well. Why are these hands chasing dreams out of my reach? It's starting to sound so. I'm almost feeling like from some of the lyrics that I've read from previous songs in Limbus Company, I'm getting a bit of a picture. I'm thinking particularly of Hero, and if I recall, there were certain similarities in terms of kind of like that thing that's out of your reach, that the kind of different sides of you that's trying to achieve something. It's really interesting. We have that bass line kind of doing a descending bass line. Now, the thing that I find interesting here is that usually when Mili does this, it ends up being chromatic. For example, this time, no, we are literally just going straight down the D flat major scale. Which again is kind of like a... I'm wondering why this track is so different. It's funny that as soon as I start doing this, the bingo thing, it just completely changes my expectations, and now we've got a song which it just doesn't seem to fall as closely in line as every other song from Limbus Company that I've heard so far, with the exception of one thing, that's the lyrics themselves. Because the lyrics themselves are the one thing that I find so consistent. I'm not gonna, as much as there are things I could probably lean towards to say, this is slightly disturbing, it's not as disturbing as like Hero or like Through Patches of Violet, for example. It's not that level of disturbing, or even Sinister. There's something so sweet about this. Sweet to the point that I'm like, wow, why did I do this bingo thing for this song in particular? I was expecting to be taken into a world of depression and sadness, not a world of actually bittersweet and feeling quite kind of like touched. My heart feels soft listening to this. Is my thirst for normalcy odd? This almost strikes me as very musical-like. It's the sort of, structurally, and the phrasing of the piano in particular, the way it plays certain chords, particularly kind of those rolled chords and things like that, strike me as the sort of the thing I expect to hear at a musical. Finally! Yes! We got it! Yes! It happened! We finally have other instruments. It only took us 2 minutes into the track. Okay, we gotta add some stuff here. Okay, we got a drum machine. Oh my gosh, we're so close to the bingo. I'm almost tempted to say we're gonna get like a genre change. Okay, there's another... Oh, okay. Guys, we did it. We got that. For anyone that's heard this before, you probably knew it was coming. But I sure didn't. I'm going to put that as a genre change because that is no longer strictly ballady in the way that we kind of expected. Oh, if only we had strings. Similarity of Ruiner, I'd have to really stretch to kind of point out an obvious similarity, so I'm not going to pretend. Again, disturbing lyrics. Yes, there are things which I found really, really interesting about the lyrics. Particularly that phrase, where was it? For the one last time, if you will. Has quite an ominous feeling to it, but I don't feel disturbed by it, largely because the instrumentation is so consistent and supports this quite bittersweet feeling about the entire song that I just don't feel like I can go on a limb and say it's disturbing or sinister. Music production wise, the drum machine, I'm gonna call it a drum, even though it's clearly a drum kit, and I'm making a distinction between the two. The way it's being produced feels more like it's likely a drum machine samples that are being used. With, in particular, there's a lot of filter automation, which is where you cut off certain frequencies from the sound, and it creates this kind of filtered effect of the drum kit that's panned to the right. Massive vocals, completely in our face. Huge BVs. I mean, if there's any similarity that I can draw, it reminds me actually of From a Place of Love. The section right at the end, we stick together, family forever, inside the train we walk down the aisle, that bit. And I now have a similarity that I can point to, because there's something that I noticed. That bit, the goodbye, 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 that is very, very similar to the phrasing used in From a Place of Love. Let me explain why. If we look at the lyrics from A Place of Love for a second. Firstly, the two are kind of similar in the sense of like there's a ballady feeling, but From a Place of Love is far more disturbing. But the similarity that I want to draw attention to are phrases like this: forbid, forbid, forgive, forgive. That kind of call and response echo from the vocals. In particular as well, things like now that it's over, wish we never. The kind of the back and forth, almost like there are two people speaking in a way. And that's one similarity that we've identified here. Show them who I can be. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. I'm kind of disturbed by it a little bit as well. But in any case, we now have a bingo.
Yippee.
I thought we were losing hope, but we managed to bring it back at the end. Trust Mili to kind of defy my expectations, because the one time I go into a lot of Mili songs nowadays expecting something. I expect things to be disturbing and inconsistent and unexpected. But this time, it's not what happened. They defied my expectations by not doing the very thing that I expected them to do. But just as I got comfortable and very satisfied with normality in this case, or the normalcy they talk about, it got odd and different. I'm tempted to say makes no sense without context, but the lyrics themselves give us a little bit of context as to what's going on here, or at least what the person who the narrative is about is thinking and feeling. There's a sense of inner conflict in many ways as well. Show them who I can be. I'm thinking back to the earlier lyric of the normalcy line as well. It shows us a lot, but also nothing at the same time. We stayed in the same key though, so that usual key change didn't happen this time. We've now gone back to the ballady beginning again, but with a distorted piano. I'm so annoyed. There was one thing that I was considering adding to the bingo that I decided not to add at the very last minute. It's when Mili songs stay on one chord for longer than is normally the case. So you'd expect chord changes to happen maybe every bar, every 2 bars, every 4 bars. And when something stays on the same chord for more than that, I've noticed that in quite a few Mili songs, and also just Limbus Company songs more generally. In this case, the very end stays on... We stay on a G flat major, which sounds like this. A really wonderful song. I love the production as well, and kind of the... Let's see if there's anything else, actually. Is it going to resolve, maybe, to the D flat? No, it doesn't in the end. In fact, we end on quite a heavy piano pedal at the very end there. It's a really wonderful song. I really enjoyed it a lot, for a few different reasons. One is, of course, the change of pace. Things being quite consistent throughout the entire thing, which is a nice change for a Mili song, actually, which usually kind of puts me on the edge of my seat, wanting to curl into a ball with covers kind of thrown over me because I'm feeling so confused and sad all at the same time. This felt really sweet. I'd love to hear some comments about, if you haven't played Limbus Company, what your feeling is about this, or even if you have, how you feel knowing the full context of this, knowing where it appears and everything, and I would love to hear your thoughts about the track too. If you did your own bingo, also let me know. And in the meantime, please suggest more, because I'm really enjoying analysing and reacting to these songs, particularly from Limbus Company, but I'm interested in doing more games too. And if there's nothing else, at least from me, thanks for watching and take care.